Aaron, what was this like for an opening day to win in this fashion? There was exhilaration. It was heart-stopping at the end. How would you describe this win?
It was a great win. Like you said, all around from the very beginning. Carlos going out there and giving us a shutdown first inning. Wellesley coming up, giving us an early lead. The place was rocking. Some great defensive plays. They're a quick team, so it's kind of tough to turn two, but Jazz made some great plays at second base. No, it was a great win, and all of a sudden you go to the ninth inning. You got a guy that just got traded from a team and goes out there, and the toughest 3 outs in the game are the last 3, and to do it against your former team, the team that knows you, that was impressive. So I know he probably wasn't happy with some of the walks or what happened, but at the end of the day, he got to save, he got to win, and time to get ready for Saturday.
Ron, and then pass it behind you, please.
Over the last 4 years since you first met Wells, what have you learned about him as a person rather than as a player?
As a person, he's just the ultimate team guy. It's been fun to see him, even as a rookie. He fit right in this team. He was comfortable. He was joking with us. He was having a good time, but he's always been about the guy next to him. And I think that's where, hearing the comment about, I just want to, I'm just excited to hit in front of me. Like, that just speaks volumes of what type of person he is, man. He's, one of the best catchers in the game, and he's got a bright future ahead of him, but he's always focused on the guys around him, trying to make his pitching staff better. Seeing the way that he's controlled his pitching staff over the couple of years has been cool. I know I kind of got on baseball there a little bit, but just he's just a great team player.
What was he first like when you encountered him, I guess, in 21 in spring training?
Yeah, he was just a young kid that was hungry, wanting to learn, wanting to soak up everything, wanting to be around all of us guys that were up in the big leagues already, and that's cool to see from a young guy. Some young guys think they got it all figured out, but he was the one that, he had the talent, he had the tools, and he just wanted to see what we were doing and try to take anything he could.
Take a few more, Jake, right behind you, Ron.
You mentioned Volpe kind of growing in confidence over the last couple of years. Are there any other ways that you've seen him grow with this now being his third opening day?
I think, like I said, confidence was a big one. I think at his age, I couldn't imagine. I think I was still working my way, out of college, trying to work my way up to the big leagues, and he's up here, man in the toughest position in sports, being the shortstop for the Yankees, and he's handled it with flying colors, and coming off a great postseason for him last year, and kind of snowballing into this year, having another great spring into a great, first game of the year. I love to see it, man. He's a guy with quiet confidence. He's fierce. He's a competitor. Like I've been saying, these young guys are going to be a big force for us this year.
Take one or two more. Greg, you have one on the right.
Aaron, it seemed like an emotional pregame there with the moment of silence. With how much Brett means to you, just how much has he kind of been on your mind the last couple of days?
Yeah, he's been on my mind. You could even guys that aren't on this team. I got a lot of phone calls, texts from other guys that, when we were young guys kind of coming up, that, what do we do? Do we reach out? What's going on? And just because of the way that Brett impacted all our lives, he may not have been the big superstar with all the all-stars and MVPs and this and that, but this guy was a leader of all of us. A second dad to some guys. He poured everything into every single guy. If we're having a tough time, he was always there for you to kind of be someone to lean on, someone to joke on. His family, everything, they've all been on my mind. I don't have a good answer for you.